Dang it. I was sitting up here talking and didn't even realize it. Apparently, my mic was muted, so I'm sorry about that. But to everybody out there, as you can see by the title, yes, this is not a game. This is actually what you see. But 9 times out of 10, by the time you get to this video later, it may have a different title, which is what I actually plan and anticipate on doing. But the title is what you see, and it is what it is for a reason because I'm a very open thinker, and what I'm going to be presenting here in this video, and it's really not me presenting it, but uh, on the behalf of other people who have done their work in the world, um, I'm going to be broadcasting that as evidence to support what I'm thinking and questioning at the end of the day, looking at the circumstances from a rounded and a full out perspective, from a 360 perspective. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into that now. Now, of course, by the title, as you can see. Now, last time, of course, I brought up the magnetism of the Earth, or which magnetism, the magnetic lines of the Earth is different from the ley lines of the Earth. The ley lines of the Earth, that energy itself is specifically a different type of, or it may, upon especially with my discovery, I'm really saying that based off of what we see with the whole ley lines that they already broadcast to us and give us. Those ley lines, like I said, and even they say are a theory. So those aren't necessarily the real ley lines. The real ley lines, like I said, is what my work is potentially really tying into and discovering. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Okay. Go to my watch later. One of the first things that I wanted to pull up was this right here. This video, because this of course ties into the Tetragrammaton and everything as well. This video right here specifically, it's been said. Hold on, I'm waiting on this to play. But it's been said out here that every single pyramid that you see in the earth on the earth is representative of um, this tetragrammaton system that we are under. I'm not saying that it ain't. The thing is, it's being pressed as a system. The whole aspect of flat Earth seems like it's being replaced with the tetragrammaton. The matrix that we living in is the matrix of what we call the flat Earth. The matrix is the torus. You know, all of this stuff comes linked in together. Now, part of what I'm going to be disclosing later on in this video uh, is that about the going into the whole thing about the grid of the Earth, and not the grid of the Earth, but I mean the ley lines of the Earth in conjunction with the aspect of the Earth, possibly, or whatever, not being what people is thinking it is. I got my own questions and everything, which shall be presented at any time. But this video, of course, I'm not about to sit through this whole 1 hour and 49-minute video because that's very long. But its key points throughout this video really is talking about these key factors. This is a person that's going through, and the shout out to the person who created this actual video, name of their channel. The name of their channel is SGD, Sacred Geometry Decoded. and their ratings is as it should be: 100% likes and zero dislikes. That's because it's 100% based on facts. So, what they realized and they talked about throughout this video, they talked about some specific numbers. This specific temple called the Borobudur or Borobudur or Bodor, however it's correctly supposed to be pronounced. This specific temple itself has been brought up and used in supports of flat earth argument by other individuals and so-called teachers in the past. And it's been brought up in the instance of it all being beautiful. One minute the pyramids are looked at and spoken of about free energy and all of this different type of stuff. And it's even being said out here now that technology is all technology is bad. When at one point, one of the main points that we was pushing or that was being pushed, I ain't gonna say we, one of the main points that was being pushed was the aspect of flat earth tying into good technology that would help the earth actually. Hmm. Which is what has always been said with that. All of a sudden, it seems like everything is bad. So technically, with the essence of if we're going to say that everything, as far as the ancients, every pyramid that they built had to deal with the Tetragrammaton, um, you know, and this is the government aspect, the government mind control. To control the mind is what government means. So I'm not talking politics necessarily with that. I'm talking the aspect of actually controlling the mind. That's through all aspects. That's monetarily, religion, all of that comes under government and ties into government. So from a government aspect, one is speaking of the Tetragrammaton as if it's a government. Basically, to put that in. That's basically how it's being spoke of now. I've been doing my talking on the Tetragrammaton and specifically doing what I've been doing, talking about what I've been talking about, putting what I've been putting in the title, specifically the Tetragrammaton, talking about this because it deals with my work. I'm not going behind anybody and talking about anything that anybody else talks about. If anything, people are coming up behind me talking about what I'm talking about. That's but people fail to realize that. But God has my back, and I know that I'm fighting for the good, and I'm going 100% based on facts. One minute, everything that the ancients were talking about, the ancients were good. We talk about the ancients like they were good. Well, if they were under some type of tetragrammaton, you know, system or government, maybe that puts their information up to being false, right? I mean, let's be real here. We have to be wholeheartedly unbiased with our research and everything, right? So, you know, just because the ancients said it, everything is right, right? Life should be all, as far as our conclusion and everything, it should all come down to what we can prove, stuff that we can tangibly see. Everything else is fairy tales, and it's all got to deal with until your senses actually go through it. You experience. That's what life is, an experience. So as far as this video, as far as what this person is about to do and outlay in this video, it's going to actually be covering some things that should stand out to people. Before this video starts, what I'm going to do actually is pull up some of my work just briefly so that people who have not seen this can see exactly what this is actually talking about. I'm not trying to draw this out, but that's what I'm going to do. Sorry about this delay. So this is what I was trying to pull up as far as when I speak on my work. This is the center of it. That's why I always pull this up because it's the center. Is one of the main aspects of it. It's basically showing everything, which is what's going to be shown once the whole complete thing is done. It's basically going to be a complete zero, except my face is going to be in the background. Um, the aspects of what you see here, of course, is a quadrant, a four, a tetrad, a tetra of what you would see here, of one, two, a four circuit way going here of numerology. Not only numerology, but this is the original geometry. This ties into the creation of the earth. So this goes into the whole point of why I put the title about the graven images and stuff like that. I heard that get brought up as well recently. After I said what I said, I was over here and I said that live, and it was funny to hear that brought up by someone else as well. Quite funny. Um, but I brought that up for a reason because, like I brought up briefly, when my reason behind bringing that up is because what I do actually is drawing, and if it was not paper, what it would be is actually graven images. It would be inscribed. So I consider what I'm doing in a way graven. And later on, I'm going to actually go ahead and talk about that, or maybe I could do it now. But since I actually brought this up, I'm just going to go in order in the process that I was doing, and specifically, as you can see, with my discovery and how I've outlaid the architecture in my work. For every half, you have a negative and positive, up and down. Positive is up and negative is down, for everyone. Just like us as humans have a left and right side, numbers. That's what's being shown here. Half of 9 is 4.5. 4 and 5 is the middle point, the two numbers that touch in the center, in between 9 and 0. Even if I took these numbers out of here, every single one of them is expressing the true meaning of number based on this essence alone. 0 and 9 are always going to have 9 blocks in between them, even if you took these away. These 1 and 8 are always going to have, uh, of course, in that case, 7. Because this is all going 9, 7, 5, 3, 3, 1. That's where the 3, 5, 7, the Masonic staircase in the center. And when you cut everything in half, actually, even if you didn't have the numbers for 3, 5, and 7, everything is cut in half, just like you see here. And basically, I can't show that right now. But if you cut everything in half, when you do that, when you count the places, when you count the when you count everything, because if you cut this in half and cut this in half, basically up here you will have a smooth pyramid. Basically, that creates the smooth pyramid. Is what I'm saying. When you cut everything in half, when you cut that in half, that creates a basically a smooth side of a pyramid. Half is up here for the we're looking at the 4 point right here. Half up right there would be half, and the other side would be half, which would make out to be one. So that's your one that would be up here. Four and one, what's in between? 4 and 5 is one. If you cut this in half, which is three, because the line is going straight down in half, cut this down. You got two spaces right here. Half of would be right here where six is at. Half would be right here where three is at. Half and half is one, plus that two, which equals three. 6 minus 3 equals 3. So it's 3, 5. And that same math, of course, continues on down. One space, two spaces. This is if I made everything according to the grid. And just like the ancient ancestors of the Nazca did with the lines, they basically made a grid. And you can see that from up in the sky. But if I would have put everything on the grid and made a square right here in this motion, a square, that would be one square. This would be two squares. And of course, that's three right there. When I made the mother herb diagram, that basically showed when you insert that hydrogen bond, which is that center ladder, the central aspect of the ladder, the hydrogen bond of the DNA, which is the spiraling staircase of the. That's why I synced that with the Masonic staircase, with the 3, 5, and 7. So they don't put 1 and 9 for whatever reason, and they know their reasoning. But I'm showing, if they haven't shown the links behind 3, 5, and 7, the numerology aspect 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, which are all the original prime numbers, or odd numbers, better to say. At the end of the day, continuing that math on down, basically everything is there. And that's the reason everything is cut in half, because it has to be cut in half. It's not just cut in half. Nothing is there for being just pretty. Everything is here for a reason. This actually had not been cut. The grand number had not been cut in half yet. But when upon finishing everything, when it's measured out, everything is put up together like a puzzle. That's when I cut everything in half with the line. So moving on from that, what one needs to realize basically with this right here, I brought up the overlay last time with the Nazca lines, because what I'm going to be showing is the link between when people talk about the ancestors and bring up the knowledge that they did know, there's plenty of evidence that shows that they had some type of network where they was communicating and could have the same type of knowledge. What type of communication they had, I'm not going to say that I know. But I have seen evidence that could be. And it's only evidence that I have any type of possibility of confirming based on graven images. That's just being honest. The graven images, and honestly, SETI, General SETI did a great video where he talked about a specific graven image. He wasn't talking about graven images. I'm saying that because that's what it is, and that's what the Bible, and that's what I'm talking about later. To tie everything all into a knot. At the end of the day, he brought up and talked really good, really decrypted, broke it down very greatly about the energy that they had in ancient Egypt, about the Ankh and this essence of being an electric oscillator. Very good job. He did that. So and those are graven images. The Ankh is a graven image. That's a fact. The same people. What one thing for a fact is, what if we had to hear just like we hear it now. What if we had to hear a lot of stuff now? What if we had to just hear? Because a lot of people swear to God, they swear to themselves. I ain't gonna say swear to God, and it's speaking in the sense of anybody else speaking, but they swear to themselves. I was trying to over exaggerate, but they swear to themselves up and down that spoken word, passing down lineage by spoken word, is greater than writing something down. I disagree with that. Writing something down, yes, it can be changed. I ain't saying it's 100% perfect. Quite frankly, it might be a fault within everything. It could be. But if you're going to pass down any type of knowledge for it not to be altered, to be honest, the best way is to put it uh, engraving. That's why I said put it in stone. Why do you think they put people's tombstones in stone? They don't put it in. They do it so that because they know that it's gonna last. What else is people gonna put? They ain't gonna put no piece of paper there. And quite frankly, how would you be able to? How would people be able to know? They said that the spot was right here. That's how you'll. If everything had to be by voice, we would lose everything. That's just a fact. We would lose a whole bunch of stuff because everything can't be. Then everything would have to be 100% broadcasted from the memory. We got an outside world for a reason. Everything ain't inside our mind. You know, that's ever heard of overload? No. Anyway, now of course, things that we do that take us away from our memory and utilizing our memory, even such as things like people can't even remember phone numbers half of the time these days. Those type of things, as far as technology, it can be an overload as far as that too. That's why balance is a grand part of reality. That's so important. Anyway, proceeding on, I'm gonna show because it should be in the recent clicks from the last stream. This is the Nazca lines overlay right here of the Mandela, of the not Mandela, but the Estrella slash the Sun Star. As you can see, the corners all infinitely go into the same thing. It will never stop, like I've been pointing out. Uh, this is basically what a lot of people say. When I said mandala right there, that's what they specifically say in India. If you pay attention to this right here, if you follow my cursor, it goes like this to this dot right here, turn 45 degrees, you see this, and then the line goes right here. Basically, this right here is the outside of a mandala if you look at it from India, which is the Borobudur temple. Basically, like I said, everything was going to, I went all the way up like that. I was supposed to go right here, this line right here. And yeah, this is that temple. Very much similar. I'm not going to say that this is, but this is very much similar. And the reason why I'm saying that it's similar is not due to my own findings, it's due to findings that have already been out here that I briefly brought up in the past. But upon me looking into it even deeper and considering what's going on and not being stagnant minded, I have to consider what's being shown to me and the gnosis of the ancestors. You see, this whole thing about the graven image aspect that I'm questioning about is so important because part of the thing is I've brought up in the past myself and questioned to other people on the panel. Nobody could answer it necessarily. It was a very good question. A lot of my questions freeze people up. But the question that I had asked is, why didn't the ancestors, since they was so high on knowledge, and of course, as we can see, obviously they had gnosis and knowledge that we didn't know. We can't even find the correct ley lines necessary, and we're wondering all of this different stuff about the Earth. We just now finding out about the Earth's energy grid and stuff like that, as far as mapping it out. if they was able to build monuments that obviously line up and we have to trace behind, we do the tracing. It's like an image that's already been drawn out and we're doing the tracing behind it. That's all that we doing. That means that they already constructed the image that we're tracing behind. So that by that default, that means whatever we figure out and whatever conclusions that we come to in that process, they have to already have known. And what I'm saying is we don't find any type of carvings. The question that I brought up is why don't we see any type of carvings? And they had so much knowledge, but why don't we see one carving of the earth? Even in just a plain out essence. We see all of these carved hieroglyphs. We see all of these different carved things. Why don't we see one simple, simple carving literally of the earth? Or maps, period, carved. Any type of carvings. We just don't see it. Not going to find it for any ancient culture. But they were what I'm getting at is, like I said, we're tracing up behind a picture, obviously, that they have more knowledge on. They set up these monuments to be wrapped up around this, what we say is not a globe, but obviously it's wrapping up, and the math is right there in people's face and you can't debate it. The math lines up right there in your face. It ain't made up, man. If you go, because you know what I'm saying and what this video, what it proves, man. The Nazca lines proves that. That's what I'm getting at. Maybe that's why people been running too. I don't know. Speculation there. But at the end of the day, it's just we're going 100% based off of truth, man. And 100% facts. Them lines would not line up like that to wrap up to be 100% the radius of the globe to anchor what? And line up to all different other type of lines. Because you see what? One thing that I realized, it's going to be real hard for any flat earther to even debate me, because it's only certain people who's talking about the Nazca lines in the first place. There's flat earthers in the first place. And that's a fact. I got the right to say that. Yeah, I'm just now getting on it, but I've been on it for about a year, honestly, consistently now, as far as time, my own work into it. So I got the right to say that. So I've been on this. But when I brought it to guys, guess what? They said they didn't even know what it was. They didn't know what the Nazca lines was, had not heard of it, didn't know what it was. Somebody else brought it up after I had done a stream on it. It was Taz actually brought it up on the guys' panel. And that's a fact. So what I'm saying at the end of the day about these Nazca lines, man, is it's a lot to be looked into. So you can't just come in this trying to debate this shit like you know something and everything about it, like you a star mathematician or anything, because it's work that been put in with this. Now it's crazy how FPV, like I say, I don't rock 100% with everything that they do. I look at people's heart and intent and what they doing. I'm looking at everybody around me and questioning everything, but at least I'm bringing the truth and open-minded about how I bring my truth that I'm doing. Yeah, I put it in the title. I said it. I mean it. You know, I'm questioning it. I'm looking at it. I'm not saying that it ain't flat. I'm not saying that it is. I'm not saying what ain't. I'm doing an open broadcast and doing what actually, you know, is mostly grandly respectful, to be quite honest. Searching for truth right in front of people's face, proving facts right in front of people's face. I've already went over and shown in the past where my work goes into every single number as far as the angle, the base angles that go in a 5-point star, the Tetragrammaton. The 5-point star is something that can be seen frequently all throughout nature. It's not just some made up star. It's actually stuff within nature that we can look at. It's not just a symbol that's made up. It's something we can actually look at. Starfish. I mean, you can go down the freaking list. All different types, celestial movements. I mean, flowers. Come on now. A lot of different things, 5-pointed. But At the end of the day, those upon those degrees, like I pointed out, is the same math that you see here. For this math to come out and show exactly what it's showing as far as the lines, and I'm gonna cut on this fan so that conversation won't be too easy to be heard in the background, because I got background noise. That's what I be trying to prevent when I be on panels, or try to attempt to get on panels too. It's all good though. Excuse me. Now, like I was saying, this aspect of the earth being, you know, flat and everything. Like I say, with the graven image aspect, the ancestors, there is no evidence of they were so smart. They had potential technology. They obviously they had the ability to fly because what they left behind was to communicate to something that could see from up above. And actually, even in order to create the Nazca lines from that grand of a scale, especially the lines that stretch for 30 miles, one line stretching for 30, almost perfectly straight line, stretching for 30 miles of perfect etched into the ground, man. They had to have been able to see from up above to some type of degree to know that they had something correct, to know where something was going. That's just a fact. I mean, even if we look at Egypt, you can see flying different. That's where I can go to the internet at that point. If we go to Egypt, these etchings that are in Egypt. Okay, this right here is one thing, one aspect. Okay, there's been UFOs look like these things. Okay, these, this right here, when we say Tetragrammaton, that's one thing that people got to think about. A lot of people claim that the pyramid, I doubt that a set of stones, man, was flying in the air. It just don't make sense to me. It just does not make sense. It's silly, preposterous, if you ask me. But you know, we, you know, the aspect of Tetragrammaton and stuff like that has been brought up. These are all graven images. Graven images. So this is the perfect aspect to get into the graven image aspect. Now, as far as the Bible verse of the graven image, this is why I just brought up what I brought up about the ancestors not having any type or any form of carved images, specifically of land masses, specifically of maps. We see everything, but we see no maps or anything as far as these in any ancient cultures. And we know that maps was obviously highly important. If anything is worth questioning, that's worth questioning. So they constructed those graven images. And this is the verse. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Exodus 24. And that's why I say I've been going through a lot in life, and I've been looking at a lot of stuff that I've been doing, paying attention to a lot of stuff that I've been doing. I do everything I do from the kindness and greatness of my heart. And I'm very honest and open, and I'll put myself on blast if I have to. If that's the case, then what I'm doing is wrong. And as well, as far as if this verse is the truth, you know, you have to break that down and look at what that's specifically getting at. It says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image." So break that down. Thou, which means you, and in other terms, shalt not, you should not, you are commanded not to, it is not permitted. Make, you should not, you are not permitted to create, basically, is what that breaks down to so far. Unto thee. Unto thee, that's where some questionability can come in as far as me, how I perceive it. Unto thee, how I hear that, make any graven image unto thee, it kind of sounds like tattoos as well. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Make unto thee, unto you, unto thee self. I don't know, but I ain't saying that that's tattoos, but it says unto, make unto thee, which in that case, I'm just going to say thee means anything. Or I'm actually look this up and show all of this. Any graven image, and of course I'll look up graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above. That's the what is in heaven above. The only things in heaven above is the sun. If we look up, the only things that we see is in the daytime, we're gonna see a sun and the moon, or we're gonna see a sun by itself. Or at nighttime, we're gonna see a moon by itself, and we're gonna see stars everywhere in the sky. That's the only thing that we can see. We can't see anything else. So basically, making any engraved image of stars, the sun, the moon, those three specific things, making any engraven image of that, you are not allowed to do. That's cosmology, basically. And it says, or that is in the earth beneath. Now it says that is in the earth beneath. This is basically the as above and so below aspect it's accounted for, or that is in the water underneath the earth. Because when it's saying, it's not just talking about fish that's in the water, it says that, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Furthermore, how is it speaking in the tense of like we supposed to know what's under the earth? What's in the water under the earth. So I do need to take that back as far as what I just said, as far as in it specifically says in the water. So that accounts, of course, yeah, for fish and everything else that's in the water under the earth. So when I said that specifically myself, I gotta revert back. Dang, I did the wrong thing. To this, like I said, I consider drawing a graven image. I don't really, I care what people say, but I'm just being honest. I'm a very honest individual. So apparently, according to the Bible, this right here is something that I'm not supposed to do. This is everything that whole thing that just said basically. It got the stars are close. This is the heaven above, the sun and the moon, and it's a depiction of what would be under the water. Like I say, we would be up here in this area, living here. I'm not saying any of this is specifically, I always have said in the past that this is not to be taken literal. Only thing to be taken literal is the aspect of the science of the herb, the marijuana, the plants, which I was, expressing as planets, plane, net. Because if this is a planet, think about it, with the whole flat earth aspect, if it is infinite, is this the only central aspect or the only place that it's a pole, or is it another place or other places that have poles? This pole aspect, if you realize with the when the plant grows, all of the nodes, all of the new faces that grow up that are facing towards the sun is all just like the central aspect of the stem. They're called nodes. And when they grow up, and really with weed, they're called tops. And when they grow up, they basically all look the same because they are the same. They're a mimic of the North Pole from the weed. So the weed shows that. Um, it shows that or what we say is a North Pole on a flat Earth, from a net cosmology. That North central aspect, the symmetry aspect, the central aspect of. And when you think about the Earth and everything, like a bowl, if you filled it up with water, I'm not trying to. That's where I'm saying, basically with that whole graven image aspect, cosmology is deemed by default wrong, because it says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above." That might not be a all I got to do is engrave that and carve that, and that's going against everything this thing says. So I just been looking at my work and thinking about that from a very honest perspective. Um, and it's something deep. I ain't saying, I feel like this right here, and the reason why I'm saying that that's deep and that's important, because like I say, there are no graven images that we can find from the ancients of the earth of this verse right here specifically. We don't. Why didn't the ancients do that? Why did they refrain from doing? Besides because when we pull up Mayan cosmology, guess what we see? That's what we see. We see the same. It's very much similar to what I've been showing because, but what I'm getting at is this is modern art. This is nothing that is created and engraved, engraved. Besides this right here that we see, which, like I'm saying, this orally had to be passed down. You don't see anything as far as the sun. You don't see the moon. You don't see nothing like that. Matter of fact, you don't even see the actual sun like that depicted. And they were sun worshippers. They drew stuff that, of course, had symmetry to it and stuff like that. Even their sun calendar, Mayan sun. I put a T on accident. Well, I'll take that back. The sun, it does. It looks like the sun. I'll take that back. This does look, of course, because it has rays. One could look at that and tell that that's the sun being depicted. That's a fact. So, but what I'm saying is specifically, and this is a graven image, but this is not literal of the um sun and moon. You don't see the sun and the moon. The astrological symbols that are there, um, but it says likeness, and I these are not like the stuff that you see up there. It's supposed to explain it, but it's not like it. You don't literally. as far as the celestial, that verse also is going at astronomy slash astrology. You know, all of that study in the Bible also says stuff about that as well. This here is at 45 degrees too, by the way. And they got that pointed out like that. I realized that. Aztec roots since 1990. See, they got that pointed out. So it's dope. 45 degrees all day. That's a fact. But anyway, yeah, Indian, ancient, ancient Indian cosmology. See, this, look here, astronomy, there go the Tetragrammaton right there. See that? So this is the serpent that just got brought up. So okay, apparently everything is Tetragrammaton. It's Tetragrammaton that which is supposed to be a bad thing. I have to type that in. Now, this is the Indian stepwell that I have been bringing up vaguely over the past as well. This is basically the inversion of a pyramid. It's the inverted pyramid, basically, and it's the same thing as you can see. As you can see, it has 5 steps for every single one of them. This is basically my work all the way around, 360 degrees. They got many different ones. This one right here is in 5 steps, but well, I mean, I guess you could kind of say that it is because it got that right there, which is the same as all of them. So is that'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and ground, which is ground 0 or 9. You know, line. 9 is line. So yeah, it's the same thing. Of course, 5 steps, just a little flatter looking. Same thing here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold on, let me see. Well, this one is different. This one got 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so this one different. It got an extra step added. Okay. But anyway, the point is, if you could imagine this right here having different things standing up in the inside of it, like columns or pillars. Think about the 4 pillars of the earth, as they call it. 4 pillars of the earth. Um, if you had something sticking up, the continents, if you feel this, that it represent the continents, when we're talking about actual representation of cosmology, this water right here, if you filled it up, that'd be like the continents or islands, you know, isolated lands and continents sticking up out of the water. And this right here is the 4 and the 5, basically on my work, which would be that 4 and 5. And these step wells are also connected to the ley lines, like I brought up. The ley lines that we see are wrapped around the earth in a dodecahedron. A dodecahedron is basically one of the closest shapes that can get to a sphere. For mathematical purposes of I forgot what they said, but this is a dodecahedron. It's basically got a pentagon. This pentagon, as you can see, has 5, of course. Um, that 5, of course, ties into like you know, the if this is implicated over the earth and everything, which is what they do as far as the ley lines. That's the Tetragrammaton slash the grid of the earth. Okay. So that's why I'm saying one of the two, one or the other. It's all about figuring out which one it really is, which one has really been applied. The dodecahedron, which one is which one is it? Um, dodecahedron, uh, planetary matrix. Basically, if I pull up the planets, the what you call, you can see this pentagon right here. Thing is, they got it bent one, two. So this is a six-sided. See, it's inconsistent, man. It's not 100% consistent. Because if I pull up another one, and that's why I said, and they've said it's a ley line theory. They've said that, so it ain't my fault. Hold on, there go another one down here, which is based on the same thing, the Earth grid, same thing there. But that's it's got this angle to it right here, so it's one, two. It's making it a hexagon with a five-pointed type of thing going on there. But this is based on the 10, and that's a fact. And that does deal with a pentagon. Um, you know, which is this is a curve up here. This is like a weird curve type of thing going up here. This thing down here. So this curve will count for one side, two, three, four, and five. That's the original pentagon right there. This is a six being made right here. One, two, three, four, three, three, four, six. Whoa. Anyway, see, this one ain't even got it on the same exact thing. It's not the same map 100%. It's not placed accurately. You can also see a square and compass within that as well. If people click on this one, you can see the square and compass right here. This is the square. And it all depends on how it's laid out. See, the thing about it is with this ley line of the earth thing, this is where if I could speak with FPV now, and the reason why I have constructive criticism in regards to their work. FPV Angel now and how they do their work, they overlay that they do is it's kind of inconsistent, to be honest. They put it over when they put it right here in the they put the center, basically the 4 and 5 center aspect, the Nazca lines right here dead in the center of this ocean right here. What would cause them to put that right there, I don't specifically know. I'm pretty sure they got, because their stuff stays rolling 24/7. Maybe I need to listen a little harder and deeper and longer, I guess, to get the answer to that question. But for whatever reason, they put that right there in that center. What they have to realize is that they're showing that and putting that over the, just like the ley lines are being done here. Now, I don't know if they're saying that the Nazca lines are ley lines like I'm saying, or could be the original ley lines that they're showing like I'm saying. But what I do know is this right here is consistent and laid over just like they lay it over, but it's for a globe. It's for a globe. They do theirs in the same essence of a globe, and they don't put it in the same, and they don't put it directly over in the flat earth type of way, from the AE map type of way. And there's been people done stuff that's accurately, some accurate questions about the AE map, even flat earthers have said that. But that's what I'm saying about our consistencies. You got people out here that are flat earthers that don't even or never even knew about Nazca lines. And the Nazca lines are, and they'll talk about ley lines, but they don't even know about the Nazca lines in depth. And that these are actual evidence of the real ley lines. Dude, is right in front of you. Look at this right here. What do the ley lines look like? Which, when you type in ley lines, obviously when you zoom in, you got stuff like this pops up. Look at what that looks like. This is on the side of the United States. So you can see what this looks like. This is another sector, grandly, of the United States. This is what ley lines look like, that they say, the ley line theory that's outlaid. This is another place. So upon getting the gist of what these actually look like in your mind, now I'm going to type in the Nazca lines. This is what the Nazca lines look like. Nazca straight line. I mean, I can't even get a good pic because it's so huge. Nazca lines map, actually. That'll do it. So when you look at a Nazca lines map, and this ain't even fully all of the lines, this is just what they put on here. If you pay attention to what this looks like, and like I'm going to show, or actually not me going to show, but somebody else who's done the work, they're going to show through their video what these lines point to. And it's not on a flat earth, to be honest. I'm just being honest. And that's not just by chance, man. You can actually look at a compass, use a compass, get on a plane, and do this. That's just a fact, man. This is another sector. And these ain't, the funny thing is, these ain't even, it's something else called the Sajama lines. I mean, these ain't even, man, the Nazca lines, and like, of course, this is a Nazca lines map and what they show you. These is just the birds and stuff like that. Of course, you can see some of the ley lines and what they point to. But guess what? These ain't even the stars, the 45-degree stars, the 8-point stars, the whole thing dealing with the same type of geometry that I've been talking about, the Astraeus. It's not even, no, it's, I don't know how many of those, man. It's a long ass video of that. So I mean, that ain't even, it's crazy. It really is. And people have to think about how much work has been put into this. You got people who are questioning, all of this different type of crazy stuff. Like, it's a lot of work and time, intricacy that went into this, dude. You know, this ain't nothing to pop up overnight. Um, so yeah, man. With that being seen, Nazca, Estrella, because I just showed my work. If y'all think about my work, this is what you were seeing. I was showing y'all the overlay of this central star right here over my work. The 7 and the 2 is right here in these corners, and that's where you were seeing the Indian. Now, if you pay attention to this right here, I was showing that this right here is making what they call the mandala. What they are not realizing is that over here they didn't call it or have a mandala. It's something called the Chicana, and other things like that from the Chauvin culture that was over here from South America and everything. They had their, and that's the funny thing. Chauvin kind of sound like my middle name, and they were considered that when you look into the first people considered in the Americas period, they were one of the first people, the Chauvin. So that's crazy. But anyway, what you see is the Chicana. And if I pull up, basically, hold on, I'm gonna go use the restroom. All right. Now, resuming, like I was saying, this right here is the Chicana. They say the mandala because they haven't came to the realization that I'm pointing out. This right here is an Indian mandala. I actually spelled it wrong. See, this is it right here. This is what was supposed to come up, which is what people will say is the cosmology and everything. Now, 1 minute, this is beautiful to the ancestors, I mean, from the ancestors. It's all beautiful. I just don't get how everything is negative all of a sudden. Everything is the tetragrammaton all of a sudden, from a negative perspective as well of it being explained. This is exactly what my work been showing as far as the tetragrammaton. You can see that right there. That's the central aspect. And then you got the corners like that of zooming into all of them. And if these squares, which is this picture right here, if it was actually another square right here, which would be this square that you see right here in the center, and then another square pillow and a pillow and a pillow and a pillow, it'll never end based on that alone. But anyway, I was looking for that specific mandala, but it's really a yantra. I think is the better. Yeah, that's what it is. It's really this one. The better name for it is yantra. When you look up the yantra, this is what you see. And this looks very similar to my work. These triangles right here even could be swapped for numbers to a degree, but you couldn't carry out the degree aspect. It's not explaining that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 8 of them. Well, 7 of them actually. 7 and 7, which is 14. 1 and 4 equals 5. I remember when this got explained by Negroes in the past. She, the mother goddess and stuff like this. All of it. Remember, the mother goddess, good stuff. Remember, this is explained in the past as, uh, this is good. They try to make y'all scared of this imagery, but this is good stuff. It's what was said by people in the past. Now, the whole narrative is different. Everything was about the mother goddess. When it's explained about the mother and the woman is good, but everything that got to deal with a phallus and a man is all bad, huh? That's what it sounds like, and that's what's being not only what it sounds like, but that's what's being shown by people's actions, and that is not right. It's just not right at all. The truth is the truth, man. So what you see is the yantra right there, specifically with that, which the yantra is based off of 45 degrees as well. There's other different things, Masonic yantras, or I ain't gonna say a Masonic yantra. They actually got a symbol for the higher degrees as much like that yantra. But I'm gonna see what happens when you type in Masonic yantra. What is the meaning of the Siri yantra? Let me see. Freemasonry ideas. Interesting. Okay. All right, moving on and proceeding to what I was supposed to be showing, which is the Bora Bora Door temple and everything. That video there. I'm gonna go ahead and show that. Start that at this point. Stop the drive so they play and everything. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let this play and skip through different parts basically, and go to the points that I strongly know need to be played, and let people basically see what's said within the video. See how many different things line up with what I've been talking about, especially you know what. Enjoy the show.
Hello, this is SGD. Back in 2018, I released a series of episodes on focusing on the Borobudur temple in Indonesia, looking at the various aspects as in connecting architectural traditions, religious traditions, sacred number, measurement systems, and how they would connect to what's often referred to as the Pythagorean harmonics, music, uh, design traditions. Again, this sort of just in the general sphere of the esoteric, and how east to west, from still practice in modern times, going back in ancient times, from Egypt, the Mesopotamia, the Roman period, Hindu, Buddhist architecture, and so on. So I just thought I'd put them all together into one single video rather than on a playlist, and also corrected a few points in there. But anyway, hope you enjoy some of the sort of content I used to make years ago. And again, just to put it into one single piece, Borobudur Temple in Indonesia.
Whether you're building dynamic network models or forecasting
Hello, SGD, Sacred Geometry Decoded, and do a the Vesica Pisces of architecture and how it connects between looking at Borobudur in Indonesia, this very famous temple. And there's quite a bit to say about it, but I'll just be focusing on this particular part where a survey conducted in 1970-71, I think it was, revealed multiple ratios of 4 to 6 and to 9 as well, indicating the architect used fractal or self-similar geometry in the design. So that emerges from the vesica, which leads to the flower of life and how these systems grow. Also the mandala, not to be confused with the mandorla, but the mandala is also this pattern built into not just Borobudur, but also Prambanan and Hindu Buddhist temples as well. But this ratio of 4, 6, 9, and how does that connect? So here we see some of the cross sections, and we see the 4 to 6 to 9, and the 2 to 3, and the 9. Now, 4 is, well, 4 to 6, sorry, is a 2 to 3 ratio, and 4, 6, and 9, well, 2 squared, and 9 is 3 squared as well. Now, we'll be seeing this in many other places, but let's look at the Vesica Piscis, this Pisces, the 2 to 3 ratio inherent in there, which is important in music theory as well, but 2 to 3. So 4 to 6 is 2 to 3, and 6 to 9 is a 2 to 3 ratio. So we can see how the Vesica, whether that was the pattern or not, is not important, is that just that ancient architects across time, across the world, across cultures, always come back not to the same, not just the same numbers, but also to the same ratios and proportions, which are then reflected in the measurement systems as well, which is a curious feature because, well, if it was just, if they just sort of knew these geometric ratios, okay, this can be developed independently, but that multiple cultures across time, across the world, always come back to the same number systems, and that's reflected not just in proportion, but in the units of measure. That's very significant. That is really important and overlooked because the standard view is that all the cultures developed independently. Only, later period did they have influence, but for instance, the Indus, China, Sumer, Mesopotamia, and Egypt, that they all developed independently, and it just so happens to be pure coincidence that all the, not just the ratios, numbers in symbolism, but also the units of measure come back to these same set of numbers. But that's off on a rant. So just to begin with, a 2 to 3 ratio using the vesica, where you can see how the vesica aligned vertically as opposed to horizontally gives a 2 to 3 ratio. Now 3 squared is 9. We could look into that as well. So it's 2 to 3 ratio. But you see the same
Now,
international standard going back through ancient periods.
I want to briefly say and elaborate on the fact that
half of that 26 and then down to 13. So like the base number again, you could call
what they ask again. What he said about the numbers was very significant and important. It was right on point. It's everything tying into what I've been saying. These number systems, are the number itself is the true communication, man. No matter what anybody says, that beats any written language and everything.
levels, 3 levels, 8 in total. There you already have a nice, well, there's a lot of Fibonacci stuff going on in here as well, just as an example. But the third level has 88 niches, and so there are 88 Buddha the repentance ceremony. For instance, in Japan, there are 88 temples connected, Buddhist temples connected together, and many other aspects you could go into 88, but just that's one of the references immediate. Now, the next level up has 72 niches, and that's interesting also because there are 72 Buddha in the stupa, in like the bell, how they're housed inside these bells on the top. And I'll go into 72 later. It's very important. And the next is 64 niches. And we'll go into some of more of these later, but just to do a quickie this time. So it gives you 432 in total. Now, the number 432, okay, we go straight to that one. So, for instance, the diameter of the sun in the long foot scale, which is 33 times 32 to get 1056. But anyway, 432 in the long foot scale gives you the diameter of the sun, 43,200 miles, the radius of the sun. But also on the long scale, that's 432 once again. But as we'll see with these other numbers, they're not just connected to Eastern tradition. You also find them in the West as well. Similar thing happening also in Mayan and Mesoamerican cultures. But for instance, the Kali Yuga, 43,200 years. Ragnarok in Valhalla, that there are 540 doors wide enough to allow 800 warriors out. That's 432,000 once again. In the Manu cycle, the greater again cycle now, 4,432, 4,320,000 years, 432. The Ark of Utnapishtim from the Epic of Gilgamesh, Preserver of Life, this cube, 432, again, references in there. And that can also be found in New Jerusalem, the description of especially, well, all of them, because they're using stadia. The King James Version uses furlong, but, well, 360 degrees. And this will come back in because, for instance, there are 432 in the niches. There are 72 Buddhas in the bells at the top, the stupas. Now, together, that's 504, but 432 minus 72 is 360. And in the
I was muted this whole time and didn't even know that I was muted, man. I can't believe that. I can't believe I was muted this whole time. I'm gonna redo this stream. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream because I don't like that, man. I can't believe the freaking mic was muted. So I'm gonna have to redo this stream later sometime. But basically, what I was saying, man, was with the 430. All of these numbers are seen with my work. I've been saying that. 104, that's all coming back to what I've been saying with the 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. So that's 5 right there. This is the staircase. 8 plus 8 is on my work too. 8 and 8 are, right there with each other. They're right under 7 and 2. 8 and 8 equals 7 because 8 and 8 equals 16. 1 plus 6 equals 7. So it's doing a 3, 5, 7 thing because 5 and then 7 and then 9. 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, like I pointed out. What this is really showing me right here is what I was saying. Because I said I was saying some important stuff. This is showing me more confirmation on what I was saying about 432 hertz being 4 and 5. It's expressing 4 and 5 because right here, like that man had just said, when you take the 432 and add 72 to it, and he's getting that 72 based off of the number of statues that are up here at the top right here. 432 plus 72 equals. You know what, bro? I just noticed some funny stuff. I'm not gonna say nothing, but I noticed some funny stuff. But it comes out to be 504, which is the inversion of 4 and 5. The order of it at least. You got that 0 right there, but if you notice that. But he also pointed out that 432 minus 72 equals 360. That's the 36. So what I'm saying is this is pointing out more so and confirming what I'm saying, all of the stuff about what I've been saying about 45 being 432 expresses 432 hertz. That key to the the frequency of the universe of 432 hertz is the expression, the sound expression, the sonic expression, sonic sound expression of 45. So what I'm also saying, one thing I wanted to point out is when people hear the word or say Masonic, they have to hear out and listen to the word for what it is saying as well too. People have pointed out the Ma aspect being, the Ma, the mother and everything. But the sonic is very important as well. It's one of the biggest parts of the word. It is the biggest part of the word. Well, it's 2 syllables, but sonic. Sound. So Ma also means make / magnetism. Magnetism is what makes our reality. So when you break down, when people hear the word Masonic or Mason, Mason also can break down to make sound. Mason equals make sound. That's why they're when you go and look into their degrees and everything, the staircases and everything, which looks much, it has music, all of the basically all of that stuff, the arts, the liberal arts and stuff like that. They're into it, but they have knowledge and gnosis of sound. If you pay attention to what I said, make sound, Masonic, make sound, Mason, 432 hertz. Okay. Sound, frequency, this all stuff ties it together. Even if you look at his it's crazy because if you look at his template that he has for this video, it actually has the Freemason template, the square and compass right there. So that's something else.
The Eastern tradition, there are 360 days per year. Now that extends to Egypt, the Romans, and the Mayans as well. And the 300, from the Vesica, this fundamental unit of sacred geometry, the inside angle of that rhombus, which is also the inside angle of a hexagon, 432,000 seconds. A on Pythagorean tuning as well, but you also have, so Greco-Roman, other weight scales, you'll see 432 grains to the ounce. So weights, we're using this symbol. There's a long.
So this right here, like I said, I was going to skip through the video and everything. This right here is the like I say, the mandala. We're gonna go into the whole globe earth aspect and everything, globe flat earth thing that I put in the title as well. I didn't put that there for no reason, but this did have to be discussed prior. At the end of the day, what you see right here and in the previous stream, what I brought up was the essence of time, what time looks like. I brought up a diagram that they have on the internet that people look at, and actually people like Santos, have went over and talked about stuff like this in the past, about that, constructed what time, is said to look like. And it's basically flat earth cosmology. Um, but what you see right here, you see Jain cosmology and you see the Hindu, what we call the swastika. That's what they call it. But this right here, this is the origins of that symbol. It comes from there. That's what a lot of people, well, I mean, it's mainly known now, but it was not grandly known at first. So upon looking at this, I'm going to go to the internet real quick. So that's what you see right there. But what they do is they turn it 45 degrees. That's specifically what they do. Now, what I'm realizing, man, see, I got nobody here watching this stream, and I know that people from the title of the video, especially with the globe thing, um, probably think, not globe thing, but question in the video from the original title, probably just thrown off. But y'all really missing out, and if you one minded, I'm telling you, you're one minded, and you're really missing out on some powerful information. I'm telling you, man. Because at the end of the day, it's funny how all of this stuff is linking back around, and I'm being shown that I'm not tripping. My stuff is very important and powerful because what I'm about to say, and the Nazca lines and everything were created in the past. The Brahmana, not only now, when we're talking about flying, they could only see those lines through flying. That's the only way that those lines can be seen, is from the air, aerial. That's a fact. They can't be seen any other way. So basically, at that time, something had to be known about flight technology. For whatever reason, with these Nazca lines, it's wrapping up to the other side of the earth for whatever reason. Now, what do we call ourselves over here, or what have people called us over here? They call black people. Um, they call black people Indians. A lot of black people call themselves Indians. This is a fact. So, why do we call ourselves that? I don't think that people question that enough. Why do black people call ourselves Indian? Not only because our people was indigenous. Yeah, indigenous Indian sound like, yeah, we get that etymology sounds alike. But no, we specifically call ourselves Indian, a lot of us. Our ancient ancestors was in India, is in India, man. Okay. India is over there. We're over here. We should be called whatever America's original name is. The original Native Americans, which they call Indians, it for a pronoun or whatever the case may be. The original Native Americans the original Native Americans, at the end of the day, they were not from India, or were they? You know, and that's why they call them. Where did this name over here coming from over there come from? Excuse me. This technology, the port, and then once I go into the Nazca, the portals, and all of that type of stuff, like I talked about Petra and Jordan and stuff like that, they just now reopening up a lot of stuff over there. That's the same city that Jesus was said to have been baptized in, and everything. So it's fun in the same place to my symbol and everything. I ain't gonna pull that up yet. But anyway, what I'm about to pull up and show is so important because I've shown this in the past and it's funny too. Nazi is what? Germany. Okay, we got that ditto. That's done. Richard Pearse of New Zealand is credited by some in his country with making the first powered airplane flight on 31st March 19th. March of 1903. What country? In the U.S., the Wright brothers were the first two. Okay. Well, am I off on something on that? On the Germany aspect? Germany being the first country to fly? Claims to be the first powered flight. Several aviators have been claimed as the first power. That would be something people would fight for as far as the title. In Germany, some enthusiasts credited him with making the first airplane flight. Did Germany make the first plane? That's where I was getting my information mixed up, I guess. Of Germany, Karl Jatho of Germany is generally credited with making powered airborne hops in Hanover between August and November 1903. So that was in 1903. So all of this stuff with planes is happening in 1903. Hold on. Was an Indian the first man to fly? That's a good question. Whatever his name is pronounced, Indian scholar was the first man who flew a flying machine over Chowpatty, 1895, 8 years before the siblings, the Wright brothers. That's so important right there. It's crazy how the universe works everything out, or not the universe, but just how everything works out within the universe. The Indians apparently have some type of tie as far as first flight. Vermont, I spelled it wrong. No R. Vimana are mythological flying palaces or chariots described in Hindu texts and Sanskrit epics. India, of course. Of India. Images of a Vimana flight. That's what they look like. Now, Vimana's ancient aircraft is what this says. Vimana's ancient aircraft. This looks like my work too. It looks very similar. That's what's so funny about it. It's been brought up in the past to use on other people's panels and stuff, but what I'm about to show him, it's just crazy. That's not the correct one. See, this is the correct Teutonic cross that I'm looking for. That's why it has the bird in the center right there. That Teutonic cross right there, but the name Teutonic cross, and that's why it has it right there as well. That aspect. Teutonic cross. The Masonic Teutonic cross. And that's I'm showing that I got the right name. I know I ain't putting the wrong name. It's at least what they broadcasted as the name as. But there are different crosses. You got the Passion Cross, Templar Cross, Patriarchal Cross, Cross of Salem, St. Andrew's Cross right here, Jerusalem Cross, which is very similar to what I'm showing. Maltese Cross, I think is pronounced. And then you have the Teutonic Cross, which is this right here, which is what I'm going for. So you have this right here, Masonic 32nd degree Mason. 32nd degree Mason, past Master Teutonic Cross, two-sided watch. So that's important because that's 32nd degree. And I pulled that up yesterday, which was this right here, which is, thank you, because that's exactly what I was looking for with the 9 points in the center. This is the nonagon. This is the 32nd degree. This is before vortex-based math. So if people believe and rock with vortex-based math like it's the truth, well, thank the Freemasons. For everybody out there who hate the Freemasons and talk so much stuff about them, you got some stuff to thank them about. If you're using the number system, thank them because they helped discover it. Help keep it alive if they didn't discover it in the first place. So at the end of the day, you can say what you want to say, think what you want to think, but you have to desire truth yourself. At the end of the day, 9 is up here, 1, 2 will be right here, 3, and then 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 is right there. The flags that I showed yesterday. 32nd degree, Albert Pike, 33rd degree, I mean. 32nd right there, you can see. So you can see that has to deal with the 32nd degree, and I'm not making that up. So the 32nd degree, 32nd. This is called the 32nd degree. Golly, man. The 32nd degree encampment. This is the apron of the 32nd degree, which is the nonagon. It's exactly what I just showed. If you put the star that you just showed, that was just showed with 9 points in the center of this, it makes this nonagon. Only thing is the tents are in the center of it. That's the only thing. So that was the inversion, the whatever a nonagon star, nonogram, I guess is what it's called. That was the nonogram that was shown right there. And if you look at the encampment, what's being shown, so like look at this right here and then look at this right here. Highly important. This looks like what I've been shown in the past, Jain cosmology. If you look at that Jain has some cosmology that looks just like this, the Indian Jains. But if you look at this, what this also looks like is the Nazca lines that I've been showing. The Estrella, if you think about that, what you see right here. Geometry. So if you can imagine that being down there on the ground with this, there's the aspect of that right there. Now think about the Teutonic cross. You see the Teutonic cross is right here, right within that. So they not off on that. That's the Indian what you call it that I just showed. Yantra right there. That's the yantra right there that you can see that I just showed. So upon seeing that, you got the encampment right there that was just shown. There's the Scottish right. That's the Nonagon right there. So that's just to show you that I know what I'm talking about. Nonagon is empty, just for the people too lazy to count it. Um, Never seen this one before, but this is a nice draw, and I'm paying attention to that. You can see the cross right there in the background, the Teutonic cross. So obviously that cross has some type of significance. What I'm saying is it's all viewed by flying, man. And okay, so if that's the case, and like I just showed, let me send something through real quick. I guess I didn't favorite it, so now I gotta go through my shit and look, find it real quick. Should be in the Instagram folder, honestly. I don't know why that wouldn't be there. I guess that's what I'm confusing it with. I got so much evidence behind what I be saying. I'm a bomb with this, man. It's crazy. I don't do this just to show that I'm how. Oh, I found out, man. Cause this is a science, bro. It's something going on. It's something real serious going on. And I mean that, man. There's something so serious going on, bro, that it's funny being slept on. It's real funny. It's hilarious to me, man. That like, cause this is so serious, man. All right, now, like I was saying, and tying it all together, think about the Teutonic cross. Now, I brought up the Teutonic cross, and I'm going to go back to it. Reverse. The Masonic encampment, like I pointed out, is nonagon based. The perimeter is nonagon based. Number 9. This is a fact. This is now upon looking at the Teutonic cross, which deals specifically with the 32nd degree of Freemasonry. When you look into this, come on. 32nd degree, like you see right there. And what I had pulled up at first, if it'll pull it, there it is right there again. Good deal. Let me see. As you can see, you have 9 points. One up here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm tripping. Well, I'll count it right here. Start off right here. So yeah, 9. You have 9 of them all together. Supposed to start with 1 right here. But yeah, you got 9 all together. Okay, that's a fact. We're gonna count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now this is the key, man. People talk so much about 10 deals with the Tetragrammaton, all of this different type of stuff. That's where I'm trying to get people to realize, man, they being surface level. You going off of what you can see. You going off of what you pulling up on the internet. It's real science behind it that niggas just ain't looking into. I just brought up the Eastern Stars yesterday. Niggas ain't never even talked real heavy about the Eastern Stars like that, but be so much on the woman and the female aspect. Why you ain't, you be on Mason so much more. I don't get niggas. It's just backwards if you ask me. It doesn't make sense if you ask me. And to be honest, when you look at this, man, when you talk about the Tetragrammaton and what numbers are associated with the Tetragrammaton, it's not no one number just associated with the Tetragrammaton. So when one tries to just sum it down to one number, they really tripping. There's going to be dominant numbers associated with it, but to be grand and full, the whole Tetragrammaton being based that it's a universal aspect, it has to deal with every number. Every single number is prevalent within the Tetragrammaton. That's a fact. That's why when you look at the Tetragrammaton, you can actually see every number there. This is a fact. 1, 2, 4, 8. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. They're all present within the Tetragrammaton without a man having to write down the numbers. That's what real geometry is about. The angles, like I've said in the past, is what matters. I'm gonna be right back. I gotta go check my food real quick. All right, and I'm back. And yeah, like I was saying, the nonagon, at the end of the day, that's 9 right there. It's not 10. Yeah, you can say with the insertion of that point right there, the central aspect of it, hmm, one could say that that's the 10th point because, I mean, you would do that with anything else after all, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would. You can say that that's the 10th point, which is what would be considered the decimal. Okay. Deca, 10. This is an aspect of nature. This is a code of reality that we can't escape. And all I be trying to say as well is why complain about things that we cannot change, man? We cannot change these things. This is an equilateral triangle. So while one person will say that at a demonic 45-degree angle, well, everything here is really, if you realize, if you have eyes to see it, This is basically an equilateral triangle, which is 60 degrees by 60 degrees by 60 degrees. That's how you can easily construct a nonagon off the rip. You got this point right here, and we're going to follow it. If you turn this one, approximately how many degrees would that be? Well, it'd have to be 30 degrees. I might be wrong. Might be, it can't be 60 degrees. Might be, but you would turn to these amount of degrees right here, and you get your next nonagon, because that's the same exact triangle right there being made. You got this triangle. God dang it. Excuse my language. You got this one right here being made. And if we turn it some degrees this way to the left, you got this triangle being made. Same exact triangle. A new triangle though. And your third one, which is the final one, you got this one right here. You turn it 3. That's your 9. Or 3, 6, and 9. You basically just made 3 different triangles. You had to turn it 1, 2 times. It's 9 different triangles, or 9 different angles, okay, produced by those turns, those 3 triangles. So, and it's 6 because everything there, as far as that, it's an equilateral triangle built off of 60 degrees by default, 60 by 60 by 60. Now, if niggas want to talk about demonic, people have been talking about 666 for the longest, and that's, of course, been associated with Satanism more than anything, okay? So we're not going to act like 45 degrees all of a sudden. When it's only one person on the foot, literally on the face of the earth, which is me, talking about that number, we're not going to act like that's demonic out of nowhere, when ain't nobody else in the world ever pointed that out, okay? I'm the only person that's been talking about it and proving the aspects of truth behind it that nobody can go against. Now, there you saw the Teutonic cross, Masonic Teutonic cross. I'm going to go to all right now and see if it pops up automatically. It does not pop up automatically, but I'm going to type in Teutonic cross. Revert back Masonic. And the definition / Wikipedia just might come up, or should. The Iron Cross is another name for it, I guess. I actually clicked on the wrong. Yeah, there it is. And we're just going to read up on it and see where it comes from. Where is its origins, just briefly. The Iron Cross is already giving us our answer, exactly what I was looking for. German, okay? This is German, okay? The Iron Cross, German, abbreviated EK, is his name who created it, was a military decoration of the Kingdom of Prussia, and later in the German Empire, 1871 through 1918, and Nazi Germany, 1933, which is a Masonic number 33, and 45 through 45. That's 12 years. So you got 1933, and you got 12 years, which is 1 plus 2, which equals 3, which is the 33, which is plus the 12 cranial nerves, like I was pointing out, up to the 45. The cranial nerves I just pointed out, that has nothing to do with what I'm saying right here. There's no synchronicity there. I mentioned that because it's a fact that I've been pointing out, that, yeah, people point out the 33 degrees of the vertebrae, stop and talk about 33 degrees of Freemasonry, but it's beyond that. Because if you add 12, which is the cranial nerves, you're not just walking around with a spine without a brain. So when you add those 12, you get 45. But moving on, this is just to tie in this with the world wars and the flight. We just heard where flight came from. Flight started in India, apparently. The first flight that we know of in our recent history. India. After that, Germany, okay, / the United States. All of these, it was the whole, goodness, sorry about that. The whole thing about the flight, who was to fly first, is just like asking who was the first person to land on the moon. That was once a person, that was once a goal that people had. And I'm not saying that the moon mission was real, and I'm not, of course, not saying anybody landed on it. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is that's something, as far as a publicity stunt or whatever the case it was, that's something that people wanted to gratify and be the first to do, just like flight, okay? The first to invent. So, what I'm pointing out is that this cross is a Germanic or German cross. It's a German cross. There's one with 45 degrees aspect to it. Every cross like this automatically by default got 45 degrees counter space, but as you can see, the Nazi cross right there. So this has been pointed out, and a lot of people look at that as a bad cross or a racist cross. Okay. It's got to deal with other people have pointed out as well as perpetuated energy slash. They've even pointed out the four rivers at the center of the earth that's said to be. And have tied it in with free energy. Now, what I'm pulling this up for specifically right now is to show something specific. If I take these and put numbers on them, I want people to realize what I'm saying. I brought this up in the past that what I've discovered is the true compass of the earth. Is it? Or not the true compass of it, but you know, it it deals with the compass, especially the first compass that was made. Okay, by the Chinese at that. What I want people to realize is if you put numbers on this right here on these squares, these are basically four Masonic squares. That's basically what that is. That's like I just said, the Teutonic cross, 32nd degree, Freemasonry. So if you put numbers on these, if the Masonic square is this basically, and basically I'm showing the science behind the Masonic square through numerology, you would get exactly what the central aspect of my stuff is, perpetuating. And I'm going to show that real quick. HOTC, I see you in here, man. I see you. I see you. Bro, we have to talk, LOL, but when you get, we get that 32nd degree and the significance of the 9 and the Tetragrammaton and what it is, bro. Hey, and see, that's what I'm saying. Hey, you might, like, literally, he might be right. And is he right? You know, that's the question. You know, I don't know. I'm saying, I ain't going to say I don't know. I'm saying, I got proof that he's not looking at stuff that he needs to look into that proves that the Tetragrammaton is actually real. Proves the science behind the Tetragrammaton. So what I'm saying is he's right behind what he's saying about the entities and you know to the degree of the entity having negative and positive. just like we do. All I'm saying is, it's, we have negative and positive, So how can we judge the creator? But all I can say is power, a lot of power, limitless power. Let's say so much power that anything after a certain degree it can't be contained. Thus the mythology of the Ark or Pandora box. Where you're looking at in that image is the containment of power and the symbol of it. Vortex map. Yes, sir. I'll just leave it at that, bro. But once you find out what you're looking at, which I'm cheering you on, bro, it's going to blow your mind. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm really, I'm looking into it deep, man. I know that y'all know some stuff I don't. And honestly, bro, I be holding back. I know some stuff that y'all don't. That's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing. Y'all keep y'all secrets, and people hate y'all for keeping y'all secrets. But to be honest, I got my secrets as well. I ain't let everything out the bag. I'm that smart enough to do that. But that's why I say they be hating and thinking that I'm a Freemason or whatever. But it's not to be cunning to y'all or nothing. It's just being safe with your stuff and everything. And that's why I'm saying whatever it is you realize, and I might already know it, and just saying, like I'm saying, I'm just out playing and showing this to people. I might know it too. Ain't no telling. But yeah, this right here. And once I pull up my stuff, like I was saying, the central aspect with the numbers, like I was saying, because every right angle is exactly what line equals 9. That's what I've always said. Let me see. Dang, I ain't have my drive open no more. All right. Yeah, I know, I'm happy to see a brother doing the work. Yes, sir. Yeah, man, I got to, bro. Got to, sir. Now, this is what's crazy. Excuse me for talking my mouth full. I don't usually do that. Got to reconsider. I don't like when other people do that. In my ear, at least. Okay. Now, this is what I was saying. Like I said, the four aspect, that's what tetragrammaton. Tetra means four. That's what people have to realize. So, like I said with the Nazi cross, if I did an overlay, as you can see right here, you start at 0. It's coming from these central corners, and those central corners is like the dots that you see with the Nazi thing. The dots is in it because that's literally a dot right there. The center, the center as a hole, or a dot, not literally a hole in that, but anyway, 0 1 is making a circuit. That way, that circuit is going that way. This one right here is going this way. Okay, so that's two arms, basically a spiral motion we got going that way. And then we got the next spiral motion that'll be going this way, just like the Nazi arms. The next spiral motion to be going this way. It's following the same exact motion. And the next one to be going this way. So it's following the exact same motion as the Nazi arms. And that's called perpetuating motion. And that's what I was telling people about, and other people have brought up chronological or chronos in the past, chronos in time. When you look at the magic square, it has 1 through 9 there. That's the same numbers that you see here, except the missing number / the lost symbol. I'm not saying it is 0, but there it is. 0 is incorporated. And it just so happens that upon that incorporation of 0, it changes the game that much. I've already proven in the past how if I did and put this on an overlay of a different grid, if I would have added or subtracted even just one more square, this whole thing would have been off. That's why I told people it is what it is, and this has to be set up like this. It couldn't have been done with any other number. Um, so there you have the Nazi thing right there. Now, what's crazy about that is I'm going to go back, and like I was saying, the Teutonic Cross is what? Germanic. And also Germany has to deal with flight, has their ties to flight right there because of uh Hitler and his I mean, just look into his stuff. He was all into the technology and everything, not just the technology as far as radio technology, but of course they had to fly and stuff as well. So apparently he was real high on that Indian type of knowledge. Well, if one uses their mind, and not only do we have the swastika right there, and I just showed where they had a swastika within the Teutonic cross. So that's all proven to be linked right there. When I do this right here, I started doing the overlay and I realized this. The Teutonic cross or the Masonic, like I just showed as well, this is what the Nazca lines. So this is the Nazca lines overlay with a Masonic overlay. So that's the Masonic Teutonic cross right there of the 32nd degree. Now I just showed how the 32nd degree looks like what? The Nazca lines, which is an encampment. They call it the encampment. If you look at the Nazca lines and where that's at, it's in the desert, probably in the place one would want to camp at. But you can see the striking similarities, behind the fact that the lines was laid out on the ground like that. This geometry, this intricate geometry was laid out on the ground like that. So it's all right there, laid out exactly the same. So as I keep on making this more vibrant, it shows what I'm saying. So it's getting, lit it up more so that people could see it. And you can see it coming into fruition. I'm showing the space that it's making. It's making this counters. If one pays attention, like I've said in the past, I said in the previous stream, I said 7 and 7, 2 sevens make a square. Because, and that also 2 sevens equals 14. And I just showed where 1 and 4 equals 5. That's highly important. That's also within the Masonic degrees. If you look at the Masonic degrees, it's all through there. I mean, you stop it. It's 4 through 32 for the Scottish Rite. I mean, it's right there. 432 hertz is right there. And I just pulled up the video we was just watching from the place called the Borobudur Temple in India, which I'm linking this all back to because I ain't even got to my whole globe earth thing yet that I've been talking about. I ain't got to that yet. The video that this man showed. Apparently the Nazca lines is directly connected to, Angkor Wat and / India. And it's weird. Like the Chakana is very much similar to what we see as far as the yantra, like I just showed, or this Masonic Teutonic cross that's being shown. This Teutonic cross is just like the Indian yantra. That's why I typed in the Masonic yantra to see what comes up, and that didn't come up specifically. That something somewhat similar, because the Indians, mind you, have a star within the center that has that star that the Indians has, like I said, I counted the points and it was 7. It was 7 points at the top and it was 7 at the bottom. They had triangles just like I have my stuff with squares. They basically had a symbol with triangles in the center, and I got my symbol made off of fractalization of the square, the perfect unit of measure. At the end of the day, this star is right here, and like I said, they had 7 and 7, so 7 at the top and 7 at the 2 sevens basically, which is what you see this square being made here. And that's 14. 7 and 2 is 14. So you got that. That's crazy as hell, dude. And that makes a square right there at the 7 and 2. So this Teutonic cross, as we continue to bleed it through, that's what it's showing. Over my work for whatever. And what people have to take into consideration is that nobody has ever Nobody on earth can show me where somebody has drawn out exactly what I'm drawing. Nobody on earth. I'm the first to do it. This is an original discovery / creation. So how the heck is this lining up and showing? Has everything there. I open up the floor for debates to the smartest person out there. What's one thing false that I've shown? This ain't just syncretism, man. This is not just syncretism. You get, I mean, it's right there. So as you can see, you got this ledge right here. This ledge right is right in between the 7 and the 2. So one can look at that. Because if we follow that, it's going to make a square because 2 is right here, but it stops. The square stops up here in between is 1 and the 8. It's a reason for that. But it's making this square right here on this line, the same line that they all is on. It's making that square at the 7 and the 2, the black square, be honest, in between the 7 and the 2. And every single number, like I say, all numbers on my work add up to be what? They add up to be 9 right across from each other. It just so happens this is a 9-point star. This is not by chance to the people out there who've been tripping on my work. And talking slick, but can't talk direct to me. Can't debate me, you know? That's crazy. You know, this right here, 9 points. 4 plus 1 point in the center equals 5. So 9 plus 4 equals 13, which is a Masonic number that's on the dollar bill. 9 plus that 4 will give you 13. But you could also, with that central point, you could say 9 plus that 5, which equals 14. And I didn't talk about that on the dollar. The star that's on the dollar bill that they say is 13 stars, they forget that that's a fractal right there. I'm going to have to show it real quick. They show it on the dollar bill. Because they be saying that star on that dollar bill is only 13 stars, but that's not the truth. That's where they be forgetting stuff. Yeah, 13 is on the, dang it. Did I exit out? No, I didn't. Okay. 13 star on the dollar bill. Yeah. I should have just typed the back of the dollar bill. That would have been more convenient. And you also got to see, and that's another thing with my work with these overlays, I could go ham on. Like I could overlay literally the dollar bill over my work. And if you look at it, all you got to look at it and you'll see how much sense it makes. Man, this is not a good picture. I'm sitting up here with, there it go. Okay, this is it. If I could, basically what I was going to say is I'll go back to that thought. But you got 1 star up here, plus that 4, which equals 5 for the next level, plus that 3, which equals, I'm tripping. 1 plus 4 equals 5, 5 plus 3 equals 8, 8 plus this 4 right here equals 12, and then you got the 13th, which is the bottom one. But people forget and leave out the fact that this is making up a star. So it's 5 or 13 5-pointed stars making up 1 6-point star. Okay, so people got to remember that it's 14 stars right there, not 13 technically. That's real talk though. But what I was saying briefly is that with this dollar bill, if you pay attention to this right here and the geometry of it, the 1, see how the 1 and the 1 and the 1 and the 1 is in the corners like that right there. Well, people have also, because they got different encryptions on the dollar bill to make sure that it's the real thing and it's not counterfeit. And apparently it's a spider up here somewhere that people perceive as a spider. I don't think it's just a perception, because and it's very small, but to be quite honest, there's spider webs all throughout the dollar bill. And I'm bringing that up because the polar opposite on my work, number 1 is color green on my work, and that's for the earth. I was not thinking about a dollar bill when I created my stuff. And number 8 is basically the spider. If you look at a spider's legs, that's one thing I have pointed out to people too on my Great Pyramid page on Instagram. If you pay attention to a spider's legs, they have, of course, 8 legs. But if you look at the geometry of a spider, sometimes when they sit and correct even the Spider-Man logo, basically I'll pull that up, or just the spider logo in general. Dang, I can't get the search bar. What I was gonna say, the spider is the number 8, but a lot of people ain't never seen that or looked at that. It's literally the number 8 in people's face. If you take these two, this is the dot or the connection point. This is the infinity sign. So the spider up here, if you take these 2 legs right here and connected them like that, basically that's the number 8, and connect these 2 legs. It's basically like a double. Like you can write the number 8 just as one single line, but it's basically like a double, like a 8, basically, a double lined 8. Uh, no. Okay, yeah. So basically, if you cut off this center point right here and then cut off this center point right here, you got a spider. And if you erase the inside, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's literally the spider. And my point behind pulling that up is because, like I say, they got a web and a spider in this freaking green. The dollar bill is green. That's the spider that they actually talking about right there. Apparently, that thing right there, they say that that's a spider right there. But even if one says that that's not a spider, you can clearly see the aspect of a web back here. And when you do an overlay on that, all of that, the central aspect of this is at 45 degrees. So 45 degrees is in the background with this whole spider web net thing that's going on back here. Which, if you look at my work, is much like that, like the money. Um, so let me go to pull back out. Let me check the chat too. In India, bro, I wish I can tell you, man. Listen, we have to talk. Yeah, we're gonna talk, bro. That's definitely gonna have to talk one. Yes, flight is very key. Without the 32nd and 33rd, you can't get off the ground. NASA knows that's how they were able to get off the ground again. You need the 32nd and 33rd. Hmm. Freemasonry is about forever learning, even from non-Masons. That's what's up. We are taught the foundation, but the seeking is on us. And as you find the connections are made, I'm learning from you, bro. To hear y'all learning from me, that's important. Only problem is the white folks, the white Masons, man. I know with nigga Masons, I'm gonna have to deal with jealousy. Because if I get on top and my name is out there and they ain't even been through the craft yet, they ain't been initiated, passed, and raised, it's niggas who will get jealous of that. Literally, they will. So because of you ain't did the work like us, but that's what they got to look at, man. I just did my own form of work. I'm literally doing work. It's up to people to appreciate it. But you said that you appreciate it and you show appreciation through your words, and that's appreciative enough. Real talking, I appreciate that. Ryan Ruiz, shout out to you, dopeness. It's an owl. Yep, I see that. Yep, the owl. Owl, yes, right. I feel you. Peace and mad love. I'm for the count tonight. That's what's up. Stay safe, bro. Carlos Diaz, I see you, man. I seen you on the other side. I want to say, dang, I don't know why I got the belts in there, but just like Eric Deep, I was over there in Sanchez's chat. I say what I gotta say. I don't just be trolling. I really be having real information that I have to offer, powerful information to offer. The fact that y'all gave me, the time of day to come over and actually hear me out and listen to me, and see what I have to offer. That's all that I was asking for. I ain't asking for clout. I ain't asking for all of the attention and all of the craziness. All I'm saying is I'm not just in nobody chat tripping. And I know when a nigga running from me, that's the funny thing about it. And the fact that y'all gave somebody the time of day and treated me like a human and heard me out, and you came over here and you at least listened in, that's all that mattered to me, man. And I appreciate it. I wanted to let that be known. Um, but yeah, as I go back to it, you got that aspect with the spider web right there. Now everything that I'm doing is at 45 degrees. Now look at the. I said that, man. Look, look. Apple know what's up. Apple Safari logo. It's at 45 degrees. Okay. Apple Safari logo at 40. Apple Compass logo. It's at 45 degrees. For whatever reason, that's where 45 degrees would be at. Okay. I'm not just tripping. Apple spider web emoji. Spider web is one word too. It's at 45 degrees. The spider web is at 45 degrees. So the thing is, what I've drawn, and then the thing is, the NASCAR drew out, because they drew out specific images. NASCAR, one of the main ones that they promote is the spider. So you got the NASCAR spider that's right there. They took out time themselves to create that spider. That looked like a huge compass right there in the ground right beside it, if you ask me. To be honest, that looks just like a compass. That's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, with that right there being overlaid on top of that, that's just amazing to me. You fire, bro, and got gems regardless, fam. I appreciate that. Real talk, real talk. Stay safe out there, bro. If you did leave too, you know what I'm saying. So going back to this video, and then I'm gonna pull up the part about the globe, and I'm gonna get on out of here myself.
Tradition, connections between Hindus, Buddhists, and especially to the Greco-Roman world, especially through the Kushan Empire, which was famous for Greco-Buddhist architecture. But so that'll be a connection. That'll be in the next one, where these calendar systems, measure systems come together. For instance, the Tale, the TALE, said to be a unit connected to Borobudur. And those, okay, and Angkor Wat as well, we'll see 432, 1728, 864, and these other sets of numbers emerging in the measurement systems as well, which so neatly tie into the yugas, for instance. But that'll be next, because I will cover in more detail, especially the number 72, and because that's one of the key ones here in the Borobudur, and well, other places. It's a standard that goes across. Same, you'll find it in measures related to Sun, Earth, Moon, and the stars as well. You'll see it in, well, countless forms: Christian, Hellenistic, ancient Egyptian, Hindus, Buddhists, Jains as well. Very, very important sets of numbers. And with that, hope you have a good one. There'll be more to come on this. Next will be a focus on 72 and how that, again, connects across not just Hindus, Buddhists, but also ancient Egypt and, well, other places as well. Very, very strong tradition. All is number, all is mind, all is consciousness. But what is geometry and number are the universal languages. They can't be lost in translation. So if you embed these sacred numbers into your structure, and then you use if you use a specific set of measures, and you would base a measure on a certain feature, so what they say about the unit of measure at Borobudur, it is called the tala, which is from the tip of your hairline to the tip of your chin. Man is a measure of all things. Okay, have a good one. More to come. now, for instance, covered the square portions or the as they move up, but the fourth of those is 72 niches with little Buddha statues on the inside. And then on the circular part at the top, what we have is 32, 24, and 16. So altogether 72 as there on the circular section at the top, and the importance of this number 72. So for instance, in Angkor Wat, there are 72 major temples in the larger Angkor complex. Again, cross time, cross religions, cultures, the globe. Now, for instance, Osiris, he was murdered by Set, and there were 72 co-conspirators along with Set in the murdering of Osiris. And Thoth every 72nd day was one from the moon. Now that has a connection because, well, 5 times 72 is 360, and also that leaves those 5 days of that intermediate between 300 and 365 days. Direct connection here, and I'll come back to that in the next part, because the Rig Veda and the 360-day calendar system, plus the 5 days, which will connect Rome, which they derive so much from Egypt, but also the Mayans have the same system, which is also blends nicely to the Vedic Hindu system as well, but 72 in ancient Egypt. So, for instance, we'll more on the Rig Veda, but for instance, formed with 12 spokes by length of time unweakened, rolls round the heavens these wheels of during order, therein established, joined in pairs together, 700 suns and 20 stands, 720. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, 72 also appears as a rather important number. Now, for instance, there were 72 demons or jinn captured, controlled by King Solomon, while Jesus sent out 72 disciples in Luke 10. Quite a few interesting ones in regards to Judeo-Christian, and there is another important one. The Old Testament, as we know it now, was actually compiled, translated into Greek in Egypt during the Ptolemaic period. Now, it's often referred to as, and part of my pronunciation, Septuagint, which translates into the 70. So there were either 70 or, by some descriptions, 72 scholars who were involved in this translation of the Old Testament. So 6 from each of the 12 tribes, 6 times 12 being 72. But also in the Zohar, for instance, Jacob's ladder in that tradition has 72 degrees or levels or rungs. In the more recent Kabbalah, for instance, Kircher, this important Jesuit, but also who links through Hermeticism, the alchemy of the 15th, 16th, 17th centuries. There's 72 names of God, which links into the Shem, Ham. So I always get that pronunciation there, you have it there. But again, this Kabbalist tradition from the Tetragrammaton, which would also apply to the Tetractus and Shin. But what we have is 72 parts or 216 letters in there as well. So 72 being important in the Judeo-Christian. But also in China, I didn't mention it here, but for instance, the Stars of Destiny, 108 in total, but 72 earthly fiends and 36 heavenly, what's the term? I didn't call them angels precisely, but anyway, that's connected. But Sun Wukong, monkey, the Monkey King, he was able to perform 72 transformations. There are 72 postures in Shaolin, including Big Lu Han, and there were 72 disciples of Confucius. Now, this theme of 72 will have a, again, deeper connection, so I'm just sticking with 72, but again, cross these different cultures now in measured sun, earth, moon, and stars. And so, for instance, 72 years is 1 degree of precession. That's working off a 360 compass, but we'll come back to the importance of 360, how it relates also here. But whether it's the sun, and again, the ionic and the long scale, 1.056 feet is 1 long foot, and 1056 is 32 times 33. Now 32 is repeated throughout here as well, and 33 guides on Mount Meru. So there's nice connections there, but not for this episode. but also measure, again, the long and the ionic scale describe the.
What's crazy is when I'm listening to this, every one of them things is set up in a section. This is a four-sided. I mean, every side of this pyramid has, or temple has, five. It has five sides to it, or not five sides, five facets. I guess that's what I should call it. I don't know what really to call them like that. Five. Let's see. What's a good name? I'm gonna say brinkets. Five. Uh, protrusions. I guess is better. Five. Five protrusions on each four sides. So there's 4 and 5 right there. They already went over the numbers in the aspect that it's all together is 504 statues. When they count all of the statues together on this thing, that's 5 and 4 right there. They was talking about 432 hertz, like I was briefly trying to say earlier. 432 plus 72, which is the main number they're expressing right now. And I just also was talking about what number. I showed that number, 7 and 2. I literally just showed those two numbers on my own work with the aspect of the and think about the Nazca lines and how it was overlaid on my work. They had circles as well. So this is the circle that was at the 7 and 2, 9 times out of 10. This is crazy. This shit is just it's crazy.
Or pyramids or stone circles in Western Europe.
Mm, mm, mm.
Whether you're building Neo4j's.
That's why I say, see, the only way that the Masons of the future is going to be able to carry on what I've done, because they're going to want to. You best believe it. This whole big old huge thing I'm drawing, man, we got one of the best lodges where I'm from. I was looking at the lodge from every state, just looking one day, just searching, enjoying
The same themes are just
enjoying the
repeated
freedom of this,
consistently over and
internet, just
especially through
searching shit one day, boredom and I started searching for every single lodge, looking at what every lodge looks like. Because it should be an intricate work, at least I'm talking about the Grand Lodge, the Grand Lodge of every state. And the Grand Lodges, man, for some states, I was just like, man, this is the best y'all could do. You know, this is the best y'all working with. Man, the Grand Lodge from my state is huge, and it been burned down partially before, So they've re-innovated the whole thing. I mean, it's huge and it's a beautiful work. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's a real nice piece of work. That's just real talk. And I say that because at the end of the day, I know who my work is going to have to, who is going to appreciate my work 9 times out of 10. I know it, and this people can't get mad at me just because I'm voicing the truth on that. It's up to other people to show that they appreciate my stuff. If they don't like what I'm saying, Freemasons is people who is about knowledge. They might hide knowledge, but they obviously about it. And they also is people who is directly tied to who run the world, which is the people I would need power. Not power necessarily, because that's not what I'm going for necessarily, but they're the people I would need the power of to get done what I'm trying to get done. The message that I'm trying to leave to steer humanity in the best direction. I think they realize to a degree. I'm not trying to speak for all of them. I think they realize the control aspect that you can have in one's life. If it is a karma and these people is very spiritual and smart, you think that they are all trying to just screw up their karma too. I think some people just realize it's a balance to this reality. Sometimes you can do so good in life, you got to be you got to get an ass whooping for being so good. Like God will whoop your ass for being so good if you can't learn when to cut being good off. You know what I'm saying? And that's just real talk. But a lot of people don't think about that like that. It's what I realized. You be too good too often, God will let you know and show you, man. I tried to show you. I tried to tell you. And at the end of the day, man, when it comes down to it, uh, yeah, I know who's going to appreciate my work, and furthermore, the drawing itself can only be around for so long. I know that. I know that for a fact. Where it's kept at and kept safe, that's what matters. But I know it's only gonna last so long because it's paper. The thing is the stones, man. That's what I'm trying to get people to realize. Our ancestors set stuff in stone. The reason I can link stuff up and say what the ancestors knew and was saying without just going off of what's being told is because of stuff like it's on the screen right here. This pyramid or temple that was built right here is very much something like I'm trying to do here for what we call the United States, what we call North America, because we ain't got one here, and that's just a fact. That mess in Las Vegas, that pyramid hotel pyramid, that ain't no real pyramid. That pyramid in Memphis, that ain't no real pyramid. I'm talking about something. We ain't got nothing, and the only stone works that we really do got is Masonic lodges. Just being, besides the Capitol buildings and other stuff like that, most of the stone for the Grand Lodges. That's just a fact. As far as the real work, me myself, I'm trying to get them brothers to realize, and I'm taking a very big stretch by doing that, putting myself on blast, and people don't realize just how y'all are the same people who will say, be careful, do all of this other stuff. Y'all don't realize how, man. It takes some guts to do what I'm doing, man. It do. And at the end of the day, because I know a nigga can only get so far. A nigga can only get so far, man. It's just a fact. But my niggas ain't gonna help me, is what I see. My niggas don't care about my discovery. The same people who look like me that could be my brother, probably if we were standing right by each other. Some people would probably even think that. They're not here for me. They ain't got my back, bro. So at the end of the day, they say vibe with your tribe. I ain't saying who my tribe is, but I know that the niggas who watch me on YouTube, who got other YouTubes that they running and stuff like that, they ain't gonna help me, and they don't give a damn about a pyramid that I'm talking about getting built. They don't care. They really don't. If anything, they'll find any excuse to say something negative, to find something negative to say about it. Instead of looking at the light, the positive that which is the greatest and main thing that's there, is more positive than negative. And that's just being real. Ain't nobody else talking about it because everybody else say that it's impossible. But if we thought like that, what was perceived as impossible from other places, how would it ever got done? And we claim that it was us who did it then. It's a reason why I've been syncing up so much of what I'm saying, and maybe the creator got it set up to where I might not be Jesus, and I ain't acting like I am, but it's some similarities there, strong similarities in the echo, the real effect I'm gonna have on my people if people gave me that chance. Because people like Tupac, if I had that type of influence, a lot of people done told me I'm like Pac reincarnated when I rap a lot of times. And at the end of the day, if I had that influence, man, that'd be crazy. I would really help people. You can't control people. That's never my goal. But if you got the power to influence people in the correct direction, that's something I always saw power behind, man. because that's what would send us in the right direction as people. Send us up the ladder instead of staying stagnant or going down. You know, shit, crazy, man.
Measure as well. They just always repeat it, and it comes back to it. This is the
So at the
underlying.
end of the day, what I'm saying is the pyramids is gonna be built here in the United States. I know it ain't gonna be the niggas who watching me on YouTube and call themselves debating me, but can't debate me face to face like a man, 100% doing. And anybody else, I say that because even though I got on the panel and nothing got said, that still speaks enough in itself because the same individuals who so outspoken when it comes to anybody else, any other debate, they ready. Like I said, the last time that we debated, it ain't out there no more. It's deleted. So that speaks enough, to be honest. And I know why it's deleted. So at the end of the day, all I'm saying, man, I see the similarities that I would have with Jesus, man, because my people is really dead in the mind. Really, people like, I mean, they dead in the mind. They only care about certain things, the certain repetitive things, over and over, the same things. If it ain't money, niggas don't want to talk. Could never talk to no young niggas about building no pyramid like that, you know. But that's who gonna build them. It's gonna be the kids of the future who hear and adhere to the message that I'm laying down right now. That's gonna do that, and that's a fact. That's crazy. So that's why, and I've always said to myself, I've always wanted to be a positive impact for the future, for the people of the future. And that's what I'm doing. I'm living up to that, man. Real talk.
Underlying theme of it. This is how through the economy or through the academies where you learn music, etc. It just repeated. It's the same themes, even if it's just pure. It's a way of laying out temples, but also they often make out of sand, like temple.
I'm gonna read the comments if it's any.
Yes!
Ones. It's also to arrange sacred spaces used for ritual as well, but it can be applied on a
And
large
that's the
scale to.
thing. It has to be the reason why the pyramid is so, because the drawing is paper. It can be destroyed after a certain amount of time. That's why these pyramids are here. It took they had papyrus and stuff back in them days. These things had to have been drawn out on something that was like this or knitted. They had to be drawn out or something like that before they were ever made and built. So all I'm saying is people who think I'm tripping and stuff like that, I ain't tripping at all, bro. I can literally see it almost like I'm right there in the future and can see the capstone being put on the pyramid right now. And I'm so serious. That's how vivid I can see this happening. That's real talk. And at the end of the day, I mean, because it's tying in with the Bible, man. Y'all see that they are carrying out everything as far as the Bible. You got to really open your eyes to comprehend what I'm saying. And that's why I'm saying I'm somebody impactful and powerful too, because I'm the one who's ushering that in. At the end of the day, the Bible says something about New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem is said to be here in the United States. This is a fact. It's said to be in Independence, Missouri specifically. What I want people to realize is Independence, Missouri is not too far away from where I'm from, dude. New Jerusalem, they said it's supposed to be built with a certain set amount of dimensions, equilateral dimensions, either a cube or a pyramid. This is basic. So they're carrying out everything else that's being said in the Bible. If you think that they ain't gonna carry out something like that, you must be crazy. There's no pyramid built here. The pyramid would be like a capstone of America. They are going to build a pyramid here. These people are going to want to leave behind something that shows in time we were that we were here and that we had some type of impact. This is a discovery. It's not just a built up hype of stone just to say, hey, we did it. We built the pyramids just like they did. That's not what's going on here. The reason why the pyramids have to be and would have to be built is because it's a universal constant. Like I said, if this is the real tetra tying into showing science behind the Tetragrammaton, answers that nobody else could see, this is something that has to be put into stone. And once people can see that, it's there for people to see forever. The science behind it. And it's going to be standing up just like the other pyramids, which they associate with pharaohs and all different type of stuff, even gods and stuff. And the same thing going to be with this, man. I can see it already. The pyramids is going to go up 45 degrees. It's going to be a huge 45-degree pyramid. I'm not just talking, bro. I'm so serious.
Permanent architecture. And again, representing the cosmos. So it shows again what these temples are pointing at, what they represent. And Phnom Penh, for instance, in Angkor, that's just one example. Many temples there in Angkor complex are connected to the mandala. And it's interesting that Phnom Penh has 104 of these towers. From ground level, only 33 are visible at maximum from ground level at one time, whatever your angle is. And as I say, 33 guides on Mount Meru. This is another repeated theme throughout as well. Now, that's 104 is interesting because the first two levels of Borobudur each have 104 niches with little Buddhas inside. So that's the first two, but this use of 104. And you see it appearing in other places now. I think half of that would be 52 weeks per year, and then that's half of that 26, and break it down to 13. So 13 would be the base number to emerge from that. Now 33 and 13 straight away, some might get the connection between there. York Rite 13, Scottish Rite 33, and there's nice links to that. But we'll look closer. But this pattern is also the templum of the sky, or the constitutio limitum, which is an ancient survey technique going back to Roman times to lay out a city as well. Now, that's a nice link because when the Spanish arrived in Tenochtitlan, which is current-day Mexico, one of them noted were the Romans here, because what they found was this Roman layout design as well. This seems to be like a universal theme pointing as well. That's just a curiosity. I wouldn't direct, but now we also have the Vastu Shastra, which translates in Sanskrit to the science of architecture.
I don't know what this thing ain't doing, bro. This thing tripping.
It's Macy's July 4th sale with our lowest prices of the season, like $20 to 50% off outdoor furniture and the rad.
Hi. I'm going to try to decode the mystery of NASCAR runways.
This is the correct video here. Now, this video right here this is what I was specifically talking about, and this is exactly what I was getting at. When I was talking about the globe, as far as the title, this is specifically what I was talking about. Now, I've been conclusive, and rocking with the flat earth and everything. There's so much evidence there. Water stays level is what we witness. We ain't never left the earth. We've never seen a ball curve with water as far as that. That's conclusive. We know that. But with these Nazca lines, like I said at the beginning of this video, this stuff wouldn't line up with Angkor Wat, man, by the essence of a globe. And we got technology these days. It might not be no satellites or whatever crap people think going around and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we do have whatever we got. We know we got stuff that can go up in the sky and record everything that's down here. Come on now, man. We got GPSs and all of this stuff working for a reason. Stuff we got Google Earth literally can zoom in, which he's about to use right now. Can zoom in onto the Earth to show us stuff that we can't see ourselves. It might not be a real ball, which is what we question. You know, the ball might not look like that, but we got something that can go up there in the sky and zoom in and look at everything here that's observable on the ground and the oceans, everything there. It's just a fact. And based on that fact alone, you can measure out easily, very easily, you know, the lines and everything that's been, golly, man, this thing is really going crazy. The lines and everything of the earth. So with the Nazca lines, for them to line up perfectly with, got to be questioned, man. Flat earthers ain't, most of them don't even know about Nazca lines, so they can't just jump and debunk something super quick. You got to know your geometry, man. You got to know your math. You know, they be talking about 8 inches per mile squared, and they don't even know how to do the math with that shit. You know. Can I get some HD, please? And I'm gonna show the reviews on this video as well, because I pay attention to reviews on videos. I ain't worried about, I don't conclude on my answer as far as what everybody else put on as far as thumbs up and stuff, but reviews tell you a lot about, you know, the time and effort that went into a video and how much people appreciate it. Just trying to show the reviews real quick. Because it got good reviews. I think it's only like 3 dislikes. I can't remember. Oh, okay. 0 dislikes. 14, okay. Damn, that shit loud. Now, I want people to think about, for all of the people out there, for the bold ass niggas who's flat earthers and stuff and just love to jump at something and try to debate something when they don't even got no knowledge on something. Just love to hear themselves talk and stuff. Think about how much work went into them lines. Think about the knowledge of flight that had to have been, I mean, because this is parallel up into the ground got to be parallel to the camera face. The way that you viewing this. This is like a sheet, it's like looking down at a sheet of paper. So they did this on point, ancient ancestors, to the point of where people thought aliens made them. That's how advanced the shit is. Look here, man. At the end of the day, dude, this line up with a globe Earth, and I'm confused. I'm trying to find it. You can't just, like I'm telling y'all, and that's what I'm saying. The globe Earth and all of that stuff, the measurements and all of this stuff goes back to the 10 / the decimal code. Just because you want to say Satan and all of that type of stuff, dude. See, saying Satan, 10, all of this different type of stuff, all of that, dude, like I say, it's fear mongering. It's one thing. Okay, yeah, the etymology is similar. 10, Satan. We get that. But I got actual scientific facts that I'm proving behind, and mathematical facts proving the essence of stuff. I can actually lay my stuff over these Nazca lines and actually have it add up with what they're talking about, concur with what they're talking about. 45 degrees consistent. I know what I'm talking about. That's a fact. I ain't just jumping into nothing. I ain't jumping into no water not knowing how to swim. So, I mean, at the end of the day, man, these lines, for whatever reason, it takes, man, I'm going to let the video play. Now, one thing that somebody have to realize is how long these lines is, man. The energy lines have to be extremely long, man. Dude, I mean, to the point of Wow. If they drew the lines and the lines that they drew were that long, that ought to tell you enough that the reception point, they had to have been. How do you draw the lines without having a reception point? So that means that they had to have had connection to the reception point in some type of way. That's freaking crazy, man. Y'all might not even comprehend what I'm saying. If the Nazca lines is that long and they are insanely long, where is the point that they was detecting it from, which is the actual cities itself, Nazca? That means there was some form of not only communication, but some form of some way to shoot energy or contract energy or something like this ley line energy and read it and detect it. And I ain't talking dowsing. It's just crazy. And there's Angkor Wat right there. All of the lines are now. That's not by chance, man. See, that's the thing. I think that's part of why niggas been running as well. If they, because it make you wonder. That's just crazy. All of these is ancient lines, and they all pointing back based on glow, bro. Oh wow, which is on the other side of the earth. On a flat earth, come to think, you wouldn't be able to honestly point all of the lines in 360 different directions and them loop back around to that same point. And that's just being real. You wouldn't be able to do that. The line that goes away from what you call uh, uh, the line that would be pointing away from what's the place that we're talking about, right? Angkor Wat, yeah. The line that would be pointing away from Angkor Wat from this area right here in Nazca should never, on a flat earth, it would never loop back around to be able to, it would never go to Nazca. I mean, to Angkor Wat. It wouldn't be possible on a flat earth. It would, on an infinite plane, the line would infinitely go out into the other lands. This line loops back around to Angkor Wat, bro, and I just showed all of these similarities between Angkor Wat and Nazca, bro, and that ain't by no chance. We talking about flight, we talking about India, we talking about the mandala, the Chicana, all of this different stuff that I've just shown, clear evidence behind Freemasons, all of this different stuff. That's not by no chance, man. Like I just said, the line that's going away from Angkor Wat from Nazca would not be able to loop back around on a flat earth. It wouldn't happen. That line right there going out into the ocean or the other way, it wouldn't be able to do that. That's just a fact. And I think the flat earthers need to even think about that, bro. So and that's a very powerful point. I don't care what nobody, I know how smart I am, and I'm not tripping. I'm not dumb. And ain't no flat earther gonna try to make it seem like, I'm tripping. Cause this is just like that walking on the earth. Like how a nigga gonna tell me You take one step in the air and you gonna travel to the other side of the earth. You can't debate what the hell I'm saying right now. You know what I'm saying? Because the line that goes away from on the flat earth, if you drew a line from Nazca to Angkor Wat, the line is going to go from Nazca to Angkor Wat. But if you carry the line from Angkor Wat all the way through Nazca and never stop the line on an infinite plane, the line would never stop. It would never come back to so what I'm getting at is maybe this is the ancients' ways, which is what this got to deal with geometry. This is the ancient early ways of mapping out the earth, bro. Mapping out all of these different cities and stuff. This is the evidence of the ley lines. And people wonder how, when people question how is these different monuments set up in the same exact area and everything, or not in the same area, but on the same ley line energy type of web, dude, this is the answer right here. Those are the ley lines. This ain't by chance. Look at that. It's got no. See, bro, it's something going on, man. You can't do that on the flat earth. You can't. You can't. Flat earth got some. Hey, man, it is what it is. I'm just being real. It's real. It's real, dog. I'm just being real. Flat earth got some questions to answer, man. Golly, that's just crazy. See, because that's the thing, and I can see no flat earther because for number one, like I pointed out, most flat earthers ain't even woke to the Nazca lines. The only flat earthers out here talking about the Nazca lines is me and FPV Angel Queen. They're the only people that have been talking about the Nazca lines. Ain't no niggas been talking about no Nazca lines. And niggas is the one who created the doggone lines. That's the funny thing about it. That's what's so funny about it. At the end of the day, we got some questioning to do, bro. I think that's exactly why niggas been running as well. That's important. That's crazy, man. And he had one more video. Man, that's crazy. Anyway, we got a lot of twirling going on here, so I'm probably gonna go on and cut this one here. That is wild. This has been a crazy stream right here, man. Shout out to everybody who has come through. This point that I made for everybody that's a flat earther at the end of the game, bro, is something that we need to look into. There has been no flat earther out here who has at the end. No flat earther has talked about the Nazca lines. No flat earther besides FPV Angel. And the Nazca lines are something that can't be looked over when you're talking about measurements of the earth, because that's the evidence of it right there. You might not find any blueprints of how to build the pyramids, but at the end of the day, our evidence is right there as far as measurements of the earth, the first ancient measurements. That's crazy. To J Ma, shout out to you, man. Peace out to everybody else who came through. I'm in.